Welcome to Robyn's Roost. Today we have two cards. So it's like a twofer, right? Because you have one piece of paper that you die cut and you're going to use both pieces. So fall is my favorite time of the year. I love the cool weather in the morning and it warms up in the afternoon and you can be outside and the bugs aren't as bad. The colors. So I really enjoy making fall cards. These cards are using the Gathering Moments stamp and die set. Well, actually, they're using the die set. I'm using different stamps. One card uses the Right Words stamp set for the birthday greeting, and the other card uses Amber Autumn and the Autumn Trees stamp set. So I've kind of combined those two suites for these cards. So I'm going to give you a peek at the cards, and I'm going to be making these cards. My girlfriend broke her wrist. She's a card maker and one of my downlines, and she broke her wrist while babysitting her daughter's dog. So she is not going to be doing any card making soon. So I'm just going to put these together for her and give them to her because I have no idea when she's going to be making cards again. So let's just flip the camera and we'll start making these. So the star of this card is the large oak leaf that is cut from the earthen toned metallic paper, which is part of the Autumn Toll suite, which can be found in the new September through December mini catalog. So you've got this beautiful foil, some what's the name of these dots? They are streaked dots. They're a little bit tall for my liking, but they're beautiful. Love the colors. This suite has two stamp sets and two dies and this beautiful paper. So we have this is a huge suite. Two stamp sets, two dies, beautiful papers, two papers, the gems, and this fun ribbon, which I really like. It's nice and light and thin. So we have that. And then the other set that we're using, and I apologize, my printer was running out of ink on this one, but it's in the online exclusives. And this is the Gathering Together suite, which also has some beautiful papers and some nice dots. It has an embossing folder, the stamp set, and the dies, which are the star of this show, right? The dies, and then we have some early espresso and old olive linen thread, which is perfect for threading in these leaves. But of course, I'm going rogue, and I used to embroider years and years ago, and I have tons and tons of embroidery floss in every color imaginable, so I am using that. But we have those two suites that are really featured on these cards. And here are the three die sets. I'm just going to give you a quick peek at these. So we have this big tree and the deer, and then some smaller trees, and then layering leaves for the tree. And let's open this one next. And then we have the Amber Autumn, which these two were part of this first suite, the Autumn suite, Autumn Toll. And this one cuts out those pretty images, a leaf and some grass, and then this beautiful background piece. And that looks gorgeous, cut with the with this brown earthen foil. And then for the star of this show, and you can see this is our negative space, and we have the two huge leaves with the dots for stitching, and then we have some little leaves and acorns, little mushroom looks like. So super fun products. Now for this card, I'm doing an inside layer and an outside layer. So I've started with a basic beige card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and then I have a piece of the Gathering Together DSP, and this is 3 3/4 by 4. My piece of foil that I'm using, the Earth and Toned Metallic, is 3 3/4 by 5, and we're going to use both parts, the part we cut out and the part that's left. Our Cajun Craze layers, and I have 2 of them, one for the inside and one for the front, and these are 4 by 5 1/4, and then for the inside I have a piece of Very Vanilla that is 3 3/4 by 5. And you could do this in Very Vanilla too if you wanted. I've used basic white. This is our greeting strip. It's 3 3/4 by 1 inch. So that's our supplies, and then you're going to use your linen thread, or if you're like me and have all this embroidery floss, you're going to use your embroidery floss. And you are going to need, this is my, whoops, I'm trying to open it. I don't know why I'm having trouble. Your needles, so, or a needle. And I try to keep my needles in something like this so they don't run rogue and I step on them. I grew up with a grandmother who did a lot of sewing, and you always had to be really careful at her house so you didn't step on Grandma Myrtle's needles. Now I use the embroidery floss full strength. In other words, I don't split it, but you could split it if you wanted a lighter look on your veins. And because I have my grid paper here, I just kind of use my grid paper as my my measuring tool, which is a great measuring tool. I'm going to move these out of the way a little bit. So it really doesn't matter where you start on these, but I don't tie any knots. I just take and put a little bit of our seal. Well, more than that though. Let's see. Wow. Okay, so a little bit of seal, and then put my tail into the seal, and it holds really well. So then you can either do a back stitch on these where you go forward and back, or you can do a running stitch where you do every other one, in and out, in and out. Either one is really nice. They have a different look. Let me see if I can find my examples. I know they're here somewhere. Oh, that was crazy. This got underneath something. So I'm going to be doing a back stitch on this one, so you'll see that. And this is a running stitch, so you're going to have a space in between. You just kind of go in and out like a, I don't know, Loch Ness monster going in and out of the water. And then the back stitch is going to take a little bit more thread, but it's going to look more solid. Now I don't think I have enough thread to finish. Well, we'll try it. But I could just take and cut it and start over again there, but we'll see. I'll probably end up with like 2 stitches short, knowing my luck. That's what you call cutting it close. And then on the back, we're just going to, again, put a little bit of our seal, and then find where we put our scissors, and go ahead and cut that tail so it doesn't show. Now all we have to do is layer our pieces up. Even the back side of this paper is gorgeous. I love those little brown dots, circles, whatever you want to call them. But we have this beautiful foil on the front side, so I'm afraid that that pretty background isn't going to get seen. And now I need to find my ink. I honestly thought I had pretty much everything ready. Ha ha ha. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to use Early Espresso. You could, of course, use just the Tuxedo Memento. And I made this a birthday card because I thought it would be very nice for fall birthdays. And this strip is 1 inch by, what is that one? 3 3/4 maybe? I think so. If I didn't say that before, sometimes I forget the little strips. And if you want more space in between here, you could also cut this to 3/4 instead of 1 inch, because it does get really tight. Maybe I should have. Let me give that a snip. So you might want to make this one 3/4 instead of 1 inch. Test it out before you glue it down. Okay, and then for the inside, I've actually taken this big tree, which it's a huge stamp. And let me see if I can make myself a little room. I tend to box myself into a little tiny space to work on. And I literally just carried all my stuff from class into my stamp room, so I have piles on my table. Okay, so for this, we're going to stamp it off because I'm going to stamp the greeting over top of it, and I want the greeting to show. And this is just a beautiful tree. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Now where do I put this inked stamp? And then I'm going to take some Cajun Craze, which is another gorgeous fall color. And again, these greetings are from the Right Words, which is my go-to word stamp right now. And I'm just going to put this greeting right on top. You could also put it, it will fit down here if you don't like it on top. Now I don't usually do all the layering on the inside, but I just really felt like this card was worth it, to add a little extra something on the inside too. Oh, now I got ink on my hands. Oh, that's what we wear jeans for when we're stamping, right? Or black pants. Okay. And now this guy is going to get put on with dimensionals. And if you're a little bit leery of your tags or your tails sticking, you can always put your dimensionals over them, you know, like so, because then it will give you that extra confidence that they're going to stay stuck down. And then I like to do a little bit on the stem, Maybe I need to make that a little narrower. Just because it kind of sticks out there, and you don't really want it to rip when somebody takes it out of the card or the envelope. And these are the black dimensionals. You can get them in either black or white. I usually do the white ones, but I had some of the black ones there. And then I like to leave the tail kind of hang down a little bit. And let's see. Guess we can. Oh, and I had ink on my fingers again. So I actually, especially for my friend Sandy, who broke her wrist and couldn't make it, I want to let her know when she watches this that I actually scrubbed all my bone folders off this month, so that when you came, you wouldn't get any dirt on your card. And then you didn't come. So what the heck? Don't be breaking your wrist. I'm sure that's not her biggest reason not to have a broken wrist, but in the middle of all the pain, I thought she needed a lighter moment to laugh about. Okay, so now we're going to put this on the inside. And then you can sign it down here. Funny story about this die set. I actually had suggested to Stampin' Up! In their, I think they still call it the sandbox, but it's a suggestion box for demonstrators, that they have a die set that we could do stitching on. And when I ordered this bundle, I didn't even notice that it had the holes for the stitching until after I got it. It was like, oh my gosh, they listened to me and I almost missed it. I didn't know they had done it. So that was kind of a whoopsie on my part. I'm hoping that they have some more of these, maybe with like, I can't even think of the name for it, but patterns, you know, where you can make like a snowflake or something. That would be so cool. So I usually do three dots, but for this card, I really liked having the 2 dots kind of bracketing the happy birthday, but I wanted something on top too. So I did add 5 dots to this one, so I went a little overboard. Again, I thought it was worth it. So there is our first card with our stitching. And let me just hold this up so you can see the difference between the running stitch and the back stitch. And our second card is going to be using our negative space. And I love this foil, but I have such, I don't know, I'm like a little pig pen. I always have these dirty fingers. So this card is going to have a white card base, and this is the basic white thick. I always like the thick white for my bases, so that when you stand them up, they don't get all mushy and fall over and curl. So first of all, I have a window sheet that is cut the same size as my foil piece, my metallic piece. And I am just going to try to find my liquid glue. And you know, my days always go like this. I don't know about you, but I can never find things, and so I'm just going to run glue kind of around the edges, hopefully not on my grid paper. And I would suggest always keeping track of these stupid window sheets, because they're like totally invisible. the bigger pieces aren't as bad, but when you're working with little ones for something, they get lost so easily. So while we were, oh, and I forgot to do it again. Okay, so before you put your window sheet on, now that I put it on, this is going to go here, and you're going to stamp right on the card base. So if you really want to make sure you get in the right spot, you can take a pencil and mark like the edges of where you want to stamp. But since I did this again, can you tell I've done it several times? And then we're going to use this this greeting, and this is from the Amber Autumn. To keep my little cheat sheet beside me, because you know me, I can't remember any of this stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to set this down here again. I want it like right there. I'm going to do it a little bit at an angle. Love that Autumn Wishes. It's like, I think, my favorite fall greeting right now. Okay, so we have that. Oh, and I apparently had some kind of adhesive on here. Okay. Now, I'm going to hope this has gotten dry. Now, for shaker cards, hopefully I'm on camera. Was I off camera? I apologize. But you kind of, over here. Some days I can multitask. No, I can't. Who am I kidding? Okay. So we want to herd our sequins inside of here. So we're just going to try to corral them in. I got that little spot right there. If I cut this a little short, put that right there. And then I do want to put one more piece across here, just because I don't want to lose my sequins in the corner. Okay, so we have all that, and we have this, and I'm going to open this up. And then I don't think Stampin' Up! Has any sequins right at the moment, but I have this cool sequins for all seasons that from a few years ago. Sequins are kind of, you can find them anywhere. Okay, let's see. I'm going to tear this off first. Make sure I get all my strips, because it'd be really hard to get one off after the others are down. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my sequins on top of my words, because I know my words are in the middle, and I have really staticky hands. I have these things stuck all over. I was kidding my friend Brenda at class last night. I said, if it's stuck on you, you get to take it home. Okay. And I did my first card with just the autumn colored ones, but my daughter-in-law came and she put all the colors in, and I loved it. So, you know, your choice on colors. I am going to put this back on so I don't end up tipping that over, because I can tell it's that kind of day. Now, I have better luck standing up, so I'm over top of this to get it sort of even. And there we have our shaker card. And for the inside of this card, did I do something? Yes, I did. Let's see. Oh, that's right, we did this. So then I'm going to take, first of all, I had an edge piece. Here we go. So I like to decorate my insides too. You may have noticed that. Actually, it looked like I had two of them there. Oh, I guess it's just the line from the pattern. Okay, so I'm going to put this along the edge. Just trim off that little bit of overage. Okay, and now my greeting for this card, and this is a beautiful greeting. Blessed to have you in my life. I think this one also comes from the Gathering Moments. I'm going to use my early espresso again because I'm staying all my stamping with the early espresso and Cajun Craze. Isn't that beautiful? I love that font. It's just classic. So for the tree, there's a couple different ways you can do this. Now I like to, I hope I didn't put that in there. I'd like to use a Stampin' Write marker to add a little bit of extra color onto my, or details onto my stamp. So I'm going to ink this up with Cajun Craze, and then I'm going to take my Stampin' Write marker, and these are going away, so I would suggest that you buy them now. They come in all the colors. You can either get the whole set, or you can buy individual families. And of course they're going away because this is a red rubber stamp technique, and they feel that without the red rubber stamps people aren't going to use them anymore. But I love these because they don't bleed through. You can do things like this with them. They're nice for writing. If you want to write, you could use them to journal if you want different colors for your journaling and scrapbooks, and they last a really long time. This marker is probably 10 or 12 years old. I just bought a new set last year because some of them were starting to get used up and dry. Now you can fill them, they just use the regular refills. So if you don't have them, buy a set before they go away because they're awesome. Now I'm going to huff on this, probably a term that's not acceptable anymore. Blow on the stamp a little bit to re-wet the ink. Another fun technique is spritzing this with water after you've done this, and it gives a watercolor effect. Now you could also color the trunk and the branches in after you've inked, you know, and just use the one color. But that's just a couple of options for you. So there's our second card. So I've already lost my first card that we made. Where did I set it? Isn't this irritating? I live with this all the time. Oh, for Pete's sake. Okay, found it. So here's our two cards made with the one piece of earthened toned metallic specialty paper, and this was 3 3/4 by 5, and then I die cut the leaf out and used both the leaf and the negative piece. So hope you enjoyed this technique. Ooh, look at that shine. Hope you have a great day and enjoy the fall colors. Thanks for stopping by at the Roost.